This show has been brought to you by Smith's Detection and the National Air Traffic Controllers Association.
My voice is the voice that guides you home safely each and every day.
24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
I am the voice of the safest and most efficient airspace in the world.
I have to be 100% of the time.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a professional air traffic controller.
Hi, I'm Melissa Sabatine. Welcome to another edition of One-on-One. Today, my special guest needs no long introduction. He's well known to all of you and to all of us. He is Eddie Angelis, our FAA Associate Administrator for Airports. Hi, Eddie. Welcome back.
Thank you, Melissa, for having me. It's an honor to be here at AAAE and to give me the opportunity to address your members on some important topics going on in the Office of Airports.
Thanks for coming, and thanks for all the traveling you've been doing to our conferences, both our chapter conferences and our regular conferences.
Well, it truly is an honor on my part, certainly.
Well, thanks for coming today because there's a lot of stuff going on, I know, in your office, but what we really want to focus on today is the thing that keeps us going every day, that we really live for, is runway safety. Bar none, that's the top issue for everybody in our industry. So back in 2007, there was a big call to action. A lot of things have been going on since then. New technology, training, enhanced communications. But in your office, we had the Runway Safety Area Implementation Program. And there's some deadlines coming up. Can you tell us, are we going to meet the deadlines? From your perspective, how's it been going with the airport sponsors?
Well, first of all, I want to start off by thanking the sponsors for really coordinating and collaborating with us in terms of making aviation safer in terms of some runway safety areas. Primarily because between the FAA's investment as well as the sponsors, we put in over $2 billion to make runway safety areas in the country more safe with innovation and technology such as EMAS beds and other ways that we can have done creative solutions in terms of making sure that these are addressed in an appropriate way. And we are certainly, the deadline is the end of this year, and we're confident that we will meet the deadline in having all of those runway safety areas implemented across the country.
That's great. Very, very important deadline. Now, we had another call to action, which was in June, which I was very happy to be able to participate on behalf of AAAE, and you were there, as well as folks from the Air Traffic Organization and the safety organization. Some of our members were able to participate. And so I know there's going to be some follow-up from that. We talked about some other problems out there and some events that have been going on, how we can have increased collaboration. But in your office, I'm really interested for you to talk to our members about the Runway Incursion Mitigation Program, otherwise known as RIM, because we have to have an acronym for everything, right?
Of course.
Could you talk about that and why you think it's important and what our members should expect from that?
Sure. First of all, I want to thank all of the various stakeholders. We obviously, in terms of the call of action, we do safety collaboratively, not only with the various industry stakeholders, but the FAA, and inviting them to bring their input and for all of us to come resolve with respect to what we need to do. As I indicated earlier, runway safety areas was an issue that we dealt with, which was then followed up with what we anticipate will be the Runway Incursion Mitigation Program. Let me take the opportunity to actually clarify some possible misconception as it relates to the RIMS program. This is not a federal mandate as may be being talked about in the industry. This is really an opportunity for us to begin the dialogue of improving safety, and it's an ongoing process that we continue to do so. So we've identified some what we refer to as hotspots and that have created more increased runway incursions at various airports. And so then these are things that we need to target. And we're really with the effort of improving the safety at that airport. And so what we want to do is initiate through the ADO office some dialogue about how to address that. Now, we also recognize that runway incursions could occur by a number of factors, including human errors by the pilots, and it doesn't always have to necessarily be a problematic geometry that needs, fixing in terms of the physical structure. So we want to address these issues airport to airport, specifically and deal and begin the initiation of conversation about the constant improvement of these airports across the country. And as you can remember, a lot of these airports are legacy airports that were created in a time where the kinds of traffic that we're dealing with, the kinds of technology and airplanes that are going through them didn't exist. And so we have to address constantly the evolution as it relates to those issues.
Now, the RIM program is all classes of airports, correct?
Yes, I mean, for now, with respect to how we're dealing with them in terms of making sure that we address all of these topics across the country, that we believe that there's a constant issue in terms of incursions. Now, if you can remember, there are times, you know, here in Virginia, for example, here in Alexandria, you go to Old Town and you see that there are houses that don't have garages. And so then there was a time, obviously, when those houses were there and cars didn't exist. So at airports, often, a lot of these runways were designed with different model airplanes that were flying in and out of them, and the configuration, the military configuration. So we're addressing these issues in a systematic way, but we are going to do it one by one. The RIMS program is a long-term project designed to basically be, like it was in the RSA project, a long-term project.
Okay, so I'm operating an airport, I'm operating the Melissa Airport. When should I expect a call from the ADO if I am going to be part of this program?
Well, your ADO should already be engaged with you with respect to the actual, you know, issues that you may have specifically at your airport. And then you begin to have the conversation about what can we do to fix the hot spots at these particular incursion or cross sections. And so then we can then begin to then implement procedural changes, and if there's a necessary for problematic geometry that we then need to do in terms of construction, we can then initiate and have the conversation about using Airport Improvement Program monies to do that, you know, either in entitlements as well as discretionary funds. Because as you remember, in AIP programs, safety is always a highest priority. Identifying the fact that you have a runway incursion mitigation issue within your airport puts that at an even higher priority in terms of where your money should be invested into.
So if I'm at the Melissa Airport and I have my CIP plan in place, I don't need to worry about that's going to be disrupted this year. This could be a long-term thing that the ADO is going to work with me on funding and what the schedule would be.
That is correct. You know, initially, the way we rolled out the RIMS was to begin and initiate the dialogue and the conversation. Then the next steps will be, what do we then do? And identify what the fix-its are with respect to it. Sometimes procedural issues, and as you know, when we did the call to action, we've identified that a lot of these issues dealt with pilot procedures and ATO communications and those things that have nothing to do with the Office of Airports. But we're all here as a team. We're all industry stakeholders. We want to make sure that aviation is safe. And so this is an ongoing, never-ending process because the FAA considers, obviously, their number one charge is to be safety-oriented.
Absolutely. It's a continuous dialogue.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I'd also like to point out to our viewers that you have a great website in the Office of Airports section on the FAA website. We're going to show, I think, the link up there and a little screenshot, and there's some great information there. There are hot spots that you feature, airport diagrams. It's a great resource for folks if they need to go and get current information from your office. So thank you for keeping that up to date.
Well, Melissa, as you have always indicated, that the best source of information that you can get from us is on our website, and we try to put as much information as we can as possible there, be as transparent as possible, and making sure that certainly the stakeholders have the information, the sponsors have the information, and again, please work directly with your ADO office to assure that, you know, you're on top of the RIMS program as we move forward.
Okay, great. Anything you'd like to add about RIM or?
Well, I just again want to thank your sponsors and your members for giving me a one-year sort of welcoming back into the industry, and just want to thank AAAE for giving me this opportunity to dialogue with you and your members.
Well, thanks for being here. You're welcome anytime, and we look forward to seeing you in Savannah. Well, thank you for joining us today. Please mark your calendars for December 7th through 9th in San Diego. Our friends at San Diego Airport will be hosting the AAAE Runway Safety Summit, which we also run in collaboration with our great friends at the National Air Traffic Controllers Association. Hope to see you there. I'm Melissa Sabatine. We look forward to seeing you next at One-on-One in the studio.